It's a pretty wild thought, isn't it, that a song from over half a century ago could give us one of the sharpest tools for understanding our political world right now. But that's exactly what we're going to break down. We're using a classic piece of music not just as a piece of art, but as an uncannily accurate field guide for today.
So, let's start with a foundational idea. I mean, we're all taught that language is for communication, right? For sharing ideas, for connecting. But what if that's only half the story? What if words are also weapons, tools that can be used not to express, but to control, to divide, and to dominate?
And that's the lens we're using. It's borrowed from Bob Dylan's 1965 epic, It's All Right Ma, I'm Only Bleeding. For our purposes, we're treating this song less like poetry and more like a surprisingly predictive user manual for how language gets turned into an instrument of power.
To get started, let's look at the first core concept. The song suggests that something like racism isn't just about what an individual person feels or hates. No, it's a system, a whole structure, and it's built and maintained with a very specific tool, language.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this shifts the focus away from individual feelings. The idea is that racism isn't just about what's in someone's heart. It's an architecture of exclusion, and it's built with the bricks and mortar of everyday language. We're talking about the specific words, the repeated phrases, the ideas we normalize just by saying them over and over again.
And this one line from the song just perfectly nails the point. Disillusioned words like bullets bark. See, that's not just poetry. It's a diagnosis. It captures the violent impact of language when it's emptied of all meaning and used purely as a weapon. Words that don't enlighten, they attack.
Okay, so with that framework in mind, let's apply it. The analysis we're exploring connects this 1965 critique directly to the rhetoric of Donald Trump, framing him as a modern practitioner of the exact linguistic system the song exposes.
So here's the first parallel. The song warns of language being reduced to slogans that take the place of real thinking. This connects directly to a political style that relies on simple, potent, emotionally charged phrases. These phrases aren't designed for debate. Their power is in their repetition and their ability to just shut down the conversation entirely.
The key point here is about what's not being said out loud. The song talks about these fake morals, phrases that sound righteous but actually serve a much darker purpose. And this is linked directly to coded language. Words like law and order or invasion can activate racial biases in an audience without ever mentioning race. It allows a speaker to tap into prejudice while keeping that plausible deniability.
And the third parallel is all about performance. Dylan describes a world of spectacle, not substance. And you can map that directly onto modern political discourse that functions less like a discussion and more like combat sports. The goal isn't to persuade. The goal is to forge a powerful in-group by ridiculing an out-group. It's a world where insults get cheered, and empathy is seen as a weakness.
So all of this leads to a really crucial question. If this language is built on slogans and coded terms and spectacle, if it's fundamentally hollow, then why is it so incredibly effective?
Let's actually break down why it works. Because the emptiness isn't a flaw in the system, it's the engine. That hollowness is precisely where it gets its power.
Okay, so according to this analysis, the mechanism works in 3 stages. First, it reduces complexity. It takes a messy, confusing world and offers the drug of simple certainty, which always feels stronger than nuance. Second, it rewards cruelty. Uniting a group by mocking an outsider is a primal and powerful social glue. It creates an us by dehumanizing a them. And third, it punishes empathy, reframing compassion for the other as a weakness, a betrayal of us.
We've seen what this language is and why it works. But what does it do to a society in the long run? What's the lasting damage when this becomes the foundation of how we talk about politics? This is the ultimate cost. When this kind of rhetoric becomes mainstream, it doesn't just change an election, it changes the society. Cruelty becomes acceptable. Trust in public communication just evaporates. And most importantly, truth is no longer a matter of fact, but a matter of volume and repetition. It shatters the shared reality we all need to function as a society.
And that brings us full circle, right back to that 1965 song. Its relevance today isn't about nostalgia, it's about its chillingly accurate diagnostic power.
So the crucial point is this. It's All Right Ma is not a prophecy. Dylan didn't predict a specific person. What he did was dissect the social and linguistic conditions
the moral numbness, the love of certainty, the power of slogans, that would one day make this exact style of rhetoric not just possible but powerful and, yeah, socially survivable.
And that leaves us with a final thought. Our societies, our laws, our very sense of community, they are all built with words. The ultimate warning from this 1965 song, and the question for us today is this: what happens when the words we use are designed not to build reality, but to break it?